so this Medicaid memorial would move some elements of our Medicaid system into managed care, which is tough. I mean, that's not an easy thing to do. Doctors don't like it. Hospital groups don't like it. Long-term care nursing home doesn't like it. But we're so broke right now, we have to do something because we don't control our own Medicaid eligibility requirements. The federal government tells us who we have to have eligible for Medicaid, and we have to pay for it, and I'm not going to raise your taxes to pay for it. I don't want to raise your taxes to pay for it, so we're going to have to do something, and that's part of that defense. So that's an easier vote for me. The real issue, the real reason I came, is that I am deeply conflicted about how to approach the drawdown of additional stimulus money to keep promises that were made by the state of Florida. That was my update. Yes, sir.
Man, personally, I'm kind of tired of the federal government and state both saying, well, if you buy this, we'll reimburse you all this money. Now they've got this Chevy Volt thing, oh, we're going to give you $7,500 if you buy this. Well, according to all the reports, the Chevy Volt ain't worth a you know what. And the only reason that I feel they're doing that is to prop up General Motors so they might have a chance of paying us back.
Same concept as the cash for clunkers.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
you
cannot gimmick your way into a better economy. I did not vote for these programs. I wasn't in the legislature. Would have had to research them a lot more. But we are essentially pregnant with all of these people that have this issue. And so my fiduciary obligation to you as your state representative is to how to responsibly deal with this conflict. And honestly, I've got more research to do, but I just didn't want to do it myself. I want to come and ask you.
You know, the poor guy out here, he ain't got the money to put these panels on his home, if he's got a home. And talking about appliances, most people, they got any sense, if they got a good appliance, they ain't going to replace it just so they can put a brand new appliance on one they bought 2 or 3 years ago so they can get a rebate. So, you know, they ain't got the money to buy these appliances and so forth, and it's the well-to-do or semi-well-to-do that's getting all these breaks.
What's interesting is that I thought that would be the case as well, but I researched who had taken advantage of these programs, and it was mostly middle-class folks.
Yeah,
why? The rich folks that are out in Destin, well, to them, a $300-400 energy bill every month doesn't matter. They can pay that without a problem. The people that took advantage of this program were people that they get that power bill every month, and it matters to them, and that's why they went out of pocket 10 grand, and now we're waiting for the rebate, and we ain't got the money. Yeah, Ron?
Originally, where did the $25 million come from?
State general appropriation. Yeah. There was also a federal rebate, but the state, out of general revenue, had $25 million. Vince?
What about the Obamacare versus the Florida care that you got squelched?
Yeah, that was removed from the ballot by the Supreme Court. I today was on the phone with the House sponsor. It's going to be House Joint Resolution number 1. You heard it here first. House Joint Resolution 1 will be our second attempt at that. But the makeup of the Supreme Court didn't change because Floridians went and voted to retain judges who voted with Obamacare. And so whether or not we will be able to pass constitutional muster has yet to be seen. There's already a House sponsor that has agreed to do this, and I am actively lobbying Senator Gaetz to be the Senate sponsor of Florida's defense against Obama.
It should be successful.
What is it going to take to get a 10th Amendment resolution or memorial or whatever it's called?
To what end?
The state of Florida. Just to draw a line in the sand.
Well, we did one specifically as it related to the fishing question because of some of the bag limits and the snapper season issues that we've talked about at Tea Party groups before. And that worked to a limited degree because we saw a relaxation of red snapper season. Really, I think in large part because of that memorial. But look, the number one 10th Amendment question there's no reason to nip around the edges. The number one 10th Amendment issue we have right now is federal health care reform. That is the issue. And so, these laws, that's not going to be determined by the legislative branch of government. That's going to be determined by the judicial branch. And thank goodness we've got Pam Bondi as the Attorney General to continue to prosecute that case because Gelber said on day 1 he was going to dismiss it. So that will be up to the courts. The good thing is it's in front of Judge Vinson in Escambia County, who I know very well and who is a very staunch conservative. But after he rules on it, it'll go up, I'm sure, all the way to the United States Supreme Court.
On the judge's retention, they're appointed by the governor?
Well, they're appointed by the governor and then retained by the voters, and very disappointing to me. We really failed, I think, as a Tea Party movement in not really fighting against Justice LaVarga.
So the only way to remove them is through a vote of retention?
Yes. Yeah, it'll say like, Justice Perry, do you vote to retain or not retain? And they got like 56, 57% to retain, which is very unfortunate.
Well, I think there's never been a case in the state of Florida where one has been removed.
Never, never. But if this isn't the case, when would be? These two sided with Obama on amendment number 9. Deprived you of the chance to vote to amend your Florida Constitution to give you the right to reject federal health care.
But not everybody knows that.
There were
Right, we
huge
tried. I
amounts
mean, well, and you know what? We should have been, look, hindsight's always 20/20, but man, we should have been, on the horn with every Tea Party group and fighting to get that message out with every one of our personal contacts and email lists to remove, because if we'd have removed just one of them, can you imagine the shockwaves that would have sent with these oligarchs in black robes?
The Tea Parties across Florida did know there was a lot of activity.
We were pushing hard.
Yeah, 43%. I mean, usually they get in the 70s. We got some, but I mean, I did too. I sent out everyone here that's on my email list got a vote no on LaVarga and Perry update, and we didn't get there. We didn't do enough. Okay.
When I made my little pamphlet to hand out to my precinct, I put a box in there shaded to explain the situation in one sentence and to vote to get rid of them. I walked up to people at gas stations and I said, here, look at this card and look at what they did. And get rid of them.
I don't blame this group. I mean, just generally, I blame myself too. I should have done more. I mean, maybe we should have written more op-eds. Or who read the Northwest Florida Daily News today? Did you guys see? Did anyone see the letter to the editor today about me? It was from someone that said the title of the letter to the editor was "Grow Up, Matt."
Oh yeah,
Because how dare I be critical of the left? My job as a state representative is to embrace this notion of pluralism, where everyone's views are equally okay, and that I shouldn't be critical of the left. So I guess I'll never grow up like Peter Pan.
Freedom of speech for the left.
Nancy for sensitivity training.
Yeah.
Other than the cost of the litigation, 5 and 6, amendments 5 and 6, what do you foresee the impact of that being?
A dramatic reduction in the Republican majority. And maybe the elimination of the Republican majority, and the leadoff hitter will be a state income tax.
Corrine Brown's already filed a lawsuit on that down there.
Yeah, it's a weird dynamic where we're actually, our partners in the litigation now is the NAACP because of majority minority districts in the Federal Voting Rights Act. But, look, here's what's going to happen on 5 and 6, okay? The legislature will draw districts and we will submit them. And then the Florida Democratic Party will draw districts, the League of Women Voters will draw districts, everyone will be able to submit a map to the courts. And the same court that voted 5-2 in favor of Obamacare will get to pick a map that they like. And they're going to pick a map from like Common Cause or some group like that, and it's going to be a map that disadvantages Republicans. Because fairness is what the courts will say it is. And this is a court that is not sympathetic. And they're political. They're actively political. This notion that the courts are unbiased is false. It's a fallacy.